All right, let's talk cloud networking, but we're going to skip the dry, boring textbook definitions. Today, we're going to build something essential, your very own private, secure island in the massive ocean of the public cloud. You see, at its core, the public cloud, whether it's AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, you name it, it's this huge shared ocean of computing resources. And just like in the real world, you wouldn't just build your house on a raft in the middle of open water, would you? Of course not. You need to claim your own secure piece of territory. So that's the big question, isn't it? How do you actually do that? How do you carve out a piece of this public ocean and make it completely, totally yours? A place that's isolated, secure, and where you're the boss of everything that comes and goes. Well, let's start building it, step by step. Our very first step is to just claim our land. And in the cloud, our plot of land is called a virtual private cloud, or VPC for short. Think of creating a VPC like literally drawing a line in the water and saying, everything inside this boundary, it's mine. It's your own logically isolated section of a massive cloud data center. It is the foundational act of creating your island, giving you a private space that's completely under your control. Okay, so we've claimed an island. Now we have to define its exact size. Are we talking about a small, cozy cay or a sprawling continent? For that, we need to file the official paperwork. And that paperwork is called CIDR. Now, I know, classless interdomain routing. It sounds super intimidating, right? But the concept is actually really simple. Just think of it as the official deed for your cloud real estate. It's just a notation, an IP address followed by a slash and a number that defines the precise start, end, and total number of addresses your network gets. And check this out. That one little number after the slash changes everything. A /16 CIDR block? Boom, you've got yourself a massive archipelago with over 65,000 IP addresses. But a /24 gives you a much cozier island with just 256. See? The smaller the number, the bigger your territory. Now, the key takeaway here is you've got to choose your size wisely from the start, because you can't just expand your island's borders later without tearing the whole thing down and starting over. Great, we have our island. But, a single, big, open piece of land isn't very useful, and it's definitely not secure. We need to organize it. We need to create zones for different purposes, like, say, public beaches for visitors and private villages for our residents. And this is exactly where subnets come in. We take our island's total IP address range, that main CIDR block, and we just carve it up into smaller, distinct sections. The one key rule here is that these zones cannot overlap. Each one has to be its own unique plot of land. So you can imagine our large VPC, that big /16 island, being neatly divided into these smaller subnets. Each one, like A, B, C, and D here, becomes a dedicated zone where we can place specific resources, like our web servers or our databases. And these zones serve two very different purposes. A public subnet is like your island's public beach. It's where you put things you want the outside world to be able to access, like your website's main servers. A private subnet, on the other hand, is like the secluded, secure village where you keep your most valuable assets, like customer databases, completely shielded from any direct internet traffic. Now, there's one important little detail when you create these zones. You don't actually get to use every single IP address. The cloud provider automatically reserves a few spots in each and every subnet for essential island infrastructure. Yeah. In any subnet you create, the cloud provider reserves 5 IP addresses for critical functions. These handle the network's overall address, the internal router that directs traffic between your zones, the DNS server that acts as the island's map, and a few others for future use. Just know that a small part of your land is always set aside for these essential utilities. So our island is zoned and it's secure, but right now it's also completely isolated from everything. To be useful, it needs a way to safely connect to the outside world. We need to build some bridges. So how do the residents of your private village get supplies, like software updates, from the mainland? And how do visitors even get to your public beach in the first place? Well, the answer lies in building specialized gateways. The first type is the Internet Gateway. Think of this as a big two-way bridge. You attach it to your VPC, and it gives the resources in your public subnets, your beach, a direct path both to and from the internet. This is what allows users to actually visit your website. The second type is the NAT Gateway, and this one is just pure security genius. It's a special kind of one-way bridge.
You place it in a public subnet, and it allows your resources in the private village to go out to the internet to fetch updates or download files. But, and this is the critical part, it prevents anyone from the internet from using that bridge to get back in. It's an outbound-only connection.
So, to really nail down the difference, the Internet Gateway is for your public zones, and it allows traffic to flow in both directions. The NAT Gateway is for your private zones, and it only allows traffic to flow out. This combination is absolutely fundamental to building a secure cloud architecture. And there you have it. You've claimed your island with a VPC, you've defined its size with CIDR, you've organized it with public and private subnets, and you've built secure bridges to the outside world with gateways. This is the bedrock of virtually all modern cloud applications. You now have a secure, flexible, and powerful foundation in the cloud. So the only question left is, what amazing things are you going to build on your new private island?